Hi guys, hi from Andrea Unger. What I want to show you today, we are close to the end of the year, is what happened in trading in general for myself, my systems, and related to trading in 2018. So let's go. First of all, this picture is the Barclays CTA Index, or indices, there are more than one, and this is published from Barclays, and it's a snapshot on the performance of a group of CTAs, commodity trading advisors, managed futures actually, and they have different groups here. What immediately comes to be noticed is the cryptocurrency traders index, which shows a heavy loss, which is not astonishing. We know what happened in crypto, so this is something that can be normal. But what is not really normal is that we see a lot of red in this column. Column is up to December the 20th, so it's a year to date, more or less. We can say this is a snapshot of 2018. We see only the currency traders index here is positive, and then discretionary traders index 2%. If we look at the systematic traders index, which is all those CTA who claim to work with trading systems, they show a loss of 4.69%. You might argue that 4.69 is not heavy loss, or it's not actually, but if we consider the average return, yearly return of this index, which I know is about, I think, 8% or so, in this case 4.69 is a heavy loss, because it is close to, it is the same size, let's say, of the annual return. So this was a very bad year, not only for systematic traders, but for traders in general, because apart from the agricultural traders index, everywhere we look at, we see some losses, but for these two I mentioned before. So this reflects a difficult year, which I also know was difficult, hearing from friends, fellow traders I'm in touch with, mostly systematic traders. They had trouble with their trading systems. So what about my systems? Same thing, a disaster. I must be sincere and honest, this is a bad year. Bad year, you can see it here. This is the equity line produced by the systems that had been traded in 2018, and this is from the software Titan I use, and it reflects the blue curve, the results of the systems as to the choices that have been made. You can see that after a good start, a really good start in the first months of the year, everything was lost afterwards, and only thanks to a decent recovery in the last weeks, the year so far is going break-even, more or less, which is disappointing. The red line is the result which I would have obtained if I had traded without filtering the systems through my algorithm, which I don't, obviously, but it reflects the power of the algorithm I use. So it's good that I would have lost more not filtering anything. In that case, systems would have been filtered only in case I had not enough money on the account to trade, to duly position size them. When this happens, I normally do it in any case, but especially in cases like this where we went through a really disappointing year, I have a look into different sectors to understand if there could have been some specific weakness in some sector, if some sector or some instrument has changing behavior, no more responding to my systems, or things like that. I go in depth to see where the problems could be. Now, first, month after month, you see actually what you have seen in the curve. You see the good start, which was something that was exciting, and then a really disappointing spring and the start of summer. Only August was positive in summer, just for those who want to switch systems off in August. And thanks to a great November, the whole picture shows now a break-even. If November had not happened, it would be a really heavy year to go through. In any case, here are the curves. These are no longer reflecting the real trading. These are curves where I pretend I had only a certain group of systems, same amount of money, but distributed over a much smaller amount of systems and position sized on the total amount of money. Above here, all my systems on currencies. And here below, only those on Euro FX. I trade futures, so I have... The difference is not very strong, you can see. The equity lines are really very, very similar because actually I have FX systems, but I have only one system on Australian dollar, a couple on Japanese yen, and a couple on British pound, and one on Swiss francs. All the rest is on EuroFX. So actually, EuroFX is producing most of the returns on currency group. And this is an alarm bell because we see that after the good start, also EuroFX showed constant losses. Here you have also a black line, which I introduced for this analysis, and this is the result I would have made trading all my systems always with one single contract. This can be done if you work on the same sector, because more or less you can put things together without mixing up completely different scenarios in terms of money, because EuroFX is always EuroFX. I'm not mixing cocoa with silver, for example. Okay, so also this black line shows that all my systems, the group of my systems, is producing constant losses. So there is something I have to do, or to look inside the currency situation, specifically Euro-US dollar. Gold shows similar problems. You see here losses, not even a good start here, always losses. And I can confirm that gold started behaving in a different way early 2017. So it has been now for 2 years that we see a different behavior of gold. Specifically, it is no longer responding properly to intraday breakout strategies. I say this because I think it can be useful for those of you who trade gold or who intend to trade gold. The situation here is dangerous because also in this case we see a constant decrease of the equity line produced by gold systems. So this is another area where there is a need of putting some efforts. DAX future, DAX closing at break-even more or less, but it's going nowhere. DAX has been in some trouble after the quantitative easing has been introduced some years ago, and after that it has been behaving in a weird way, considering also that now, just this month, we are facing new extended session of market hours in DAX. It's a good time to pause systems on DAX, or most of them, but for some intraday things maybe both can work, but all the others it's better to be paused for a while to see how the market will eventually change its behavior now that there are many more hours in the session which we had not seen before. It might affect many things. It's better to stay and wait and then make some analysis maybe in 3, 4, 6 months or so. Bonds, once I mentioned that I don't like bonds, I should like them because they produce profits. And in this case, the unfiltered systems even worked better than the filtered, but a very small amount. And they produced money constantly. Also, the single contract line shows a constant slow growth. Bonds are good. I don't like these systems. I don't like the way they trade, but I must admit that they are saving my portfolio so far. So bonds are in good shape. The energy sector is not really in good shape. You see, it made money. It made a little bit of money here, thanks to the second half of the year. Filtering strategies produce less money than not filtering them, but this would have been probably too much rock and roll to trade the red line. And I had a deeper look into energy itself, splitting here crude oil and gasoline. So both produce profits, but you see gasoline behaved much better in the last part of the year. The only problem with gasoline is that I don't have so many systems on gasoline. I have 4 systems. I have more on crude oil, and gasoline has shown to be in good shape. Even though some friends of mine who have other systems they developed on gasoline claim to have started seeing some trouble lately. So my system did keep on making money, but I have to watch this closely because things might be in a changing phase. Grains, disaster, complete disaster, have been in a disaster mode for years now. And actually I can tell you soybeans, which is the most important, probably has completely changed its behavior already in 2013 or so. No longer trend following on intraday and completely different behavior. I never put too many efforts in finding new stuff on grains. I think it's definitely time to work on this. The mini S&P 500, other family of systems which I don't like, but which made money. And they made even decent money. You see the red line is astonishing here. So if I had not filtered my system, I would have made a lot of money, but I filtered them and I still made money on mini S&P, but not to the extent I would have made not filtering anything. But I'm happy to filter because the risk not filtering, having a heavy correlation among all the systems would have been too much actually. So it's good that filters are there, and it's good to see that mini S&P, which is an efficient market, so it's unlikely to change too much, and this is what helps. This is what helps because systems continue producing some profits. Now let's go outside of the direct trading. Let's see what happened during the year and how I found new opportunities. The first one was in January when I was invited to hold a seminar in Hong Kong, and here you can see me sitting in the middle of the class, but also Stefano Serafini sitting close to me, champion of 2017, and Riccardo Parise, who Italian friends know him. These 2 guys joined the seminar. I was very happy to sit with them. Seminar organized by Mrs. Teresa Wong, sitting here to my right. And great seminar. And the real opportunity I found, apart from the seminar itself, was that I discovered the Hang Seng Future Index. And I can tell you I like Hang Seng Future, which I ignored before. I knew it existed, but I didn't know anything about its behavior. I can tell you so far it's still a very clean behavior. So I like it. I developed strategies and I started trading it. My greatest difficulty, and the reason why I had not considered this before, is that IQ feed, which I use as a data feed, is not providing any data on Hang Seng Future. So I use the CQG data from my admin's account of a workup advisor, which is not the best solution because I don't want to mix too many things, but it's a way that makes so far trading possible on the Hang Seng Future. In October, I had the pleasure and the honor to be invited as a speaker at the 31st IFTA annual conference in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. This was a big flag in the conference center. You see my face here, just below the Prime Minister of Malaysia. Great opportunity also in this case, really big names. This is me speaking, but here the head here is from John Bollinger, who was looking with a bit of an annoyed face, but he said he was liking the speech, so I hope he was not too much bored. And here I am with Martin Pring and Perry Kaufman, 2 great names, 2 great minds, and this is me doing nothing. It's always a pleasure to attend these meetings because you listen to a number of presentations and you always get really great content, which is always useful. Last but not least, in November, I was invited to Shenzhen in China for a local trading contest award ceremony. This was the room of the ceremony. So you see how China shows outstanding numbers everywhere. This was a great event in any case. And you can see on the mega screen when my pick was shown, it was a great emotion for me. This is me presenting, and I can tell you that Chinese markets are incredibly interesting. So far, we as Western traders are not allowed to trade those markets, but I'm really waiting for the frontiers to open, because those markets offer incredible opportunities for traders. So be ready, keep an eye on China, because China is the present and the future of trading. It's really interesting for us traders. We had also a very interesting panel discussion with some of the local traders, all these guys here sitting with me. It was a great experience. It's always great to exchange opinions with other traders, especially if they are from other parts of the world with completely different cultures and trading cultures. This was my 2018. I now prepare, first of all, for the Christmas holidays. And by the way, I wish you and your families a Merry Christmas. I don't know actually when you are watching this video, but I do wish you this now. And I hope to rest now, and I'm preparing for 2019. In 2019, as said, I will be working on those sectors where I found out there are weaknesses in my system, in my portfolio of systems, and maybe I will have opportunities to travel around the world and discover new ideas, as I did in 2018. In any case, when this happens, if it happens, I will try to pass over to you some of the most important information I gathered. That's it, guys. This is Andrea Unger. Ciao from Andrea Unger. See you next time. Ciao. Enjoyed it? Click the link below and you will be noticed as soon as new material is available.